You just don't know what's going to happen on any given Sunday. You think things are going to go a certain way, and lo and behold, they might take a little longer, or fourth quarter action. But it's been an interesting Sunday, sir. How are we doing, Nutmeg?
Bucks McGee, let me tell you, it never ceases to bring a warm glow to my heart than beating the New England Patriots.
I know this to be true, even though this is nowhere near the Patriots team you would really want to beat. But hey, you take it how you can.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But hey, you get victory Monday, you get victory Monday.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as the ending of that game went, uh I was I'm not I'm not sold on AR yet, but did show me a little something something there, you know?
No, he definitely did. He was able to put it together when it needed it the most. I was impressed with him. It wasn't pretty, but you take a win how you get a win.
Yeah, and the fact that Taylor kind of returned, he had a good game. Um and uh I guess the real and the defense. I was actually a little disappointed by the defense. I don't think that I don't think that they really performed all that well, giving up 24 points to the Patriots. But I guess it was a bend but don't break situation. I certainly never would have guessed that AR would be able to do what he put up 25 points more or less on his own.
Yeah, no, exactly. I didn't think that the Patriots would be able to would move the ball as well as they did. You know, give Drake May some credit. He looked good. In certain parts of the game. There were other ones where it was kind of like, all right, but he's learning the process. But at the end of the day, AR was able to put it together. I think that benching really helped him out, and I think he's really starting to learn what it really takes to be a quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and I don't think it would. I didn't think it would, but I guess that was a harsh reality of get mature, kid.
Yeah, exactly. It was a situation of, hey, you want to be the man. You want to be the man on this team. This is what you're going to have to learn. This is what we need from you.
Yeah.
So great win, and hey, you take it. Take it. Like I said, take them however you can get them.
The only bitter pill is the Jags could have done me a little bit of a favor and beat Houston, but I guess I can't expect much from Mac Jones as Trevor Lawrence got his bell rung a little bit, and the Jacksonville was out without a quarterback for a good chunk of that one.
You know what? Mac Jones played well. You got to give him credit. He had 2 touchdowns. His stats were solid. He played well. It's just when the Texans are kind of head hunting and take out the Prince himself, Trevor Lawrence, it doesn't help. But I'll give Mac Jones credit. He played well coming in. He got him back in the game. They just couldn't finish.
Texans kind of stink this year, so I guess if you can't beat people straight up, you might as well hurt them.
That's how it goes. If you can't beat them straight up, you do what you got to do.
So here is a good example of how live TV works. Within 30 seconds of us starting the show, we're getting ready to talk a little Victory Monday for you, a Victory Monday for me, a Victory Monday for you, and here comes Bryce Young with a rare streak of heroics for the Carolina Panthers, giving your Bucks a fight.
Yeah, sitting there and just I don't know, man. Just makes no sense. For 3 quarters, we just didn't want to run the ball, and then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter, it becomes the Bucky Irving show, which it should have been. Incredible game for him, and now we're fighting for our lives. It's a situation where we win this game, we got a 60+% chance of making the playoffs. If we lose, it's 30%. So and it's funny that if that's what happens, the Panthers will be the only winning team in our division today. Go figure.
Yeah,
So
you scratched it up, right?
exactly. I'm kind of you kind of sit there and you're like, All right. Well, at least I'm not the only loser. I'm taking Kurt and Derek Carr with me. So there you go. There's a victory in that aspect somewhere.
Yeah, we talk about how jumbled the NFC West is. The NFC South is doing the old hold my beer right now because now the Panthers just played their way back into potential contention here.
All of a sudden, Bryce Young wants to be a quarterback in the league. Finally figures it out. So, it's one of the, I'm a real quarterback now. Look at me. Look at me. Look what I can do.
Geppetto Canellis.
Geppetto Canales. That's the truth, man. You got to give the man credit. I loved Dave Canales, and when he took the job, I was like, wow, man, you just want to end your career, eh? But all right. But some people like to get dirty and do it the hard way, and he's started to turn, Bryce around.
Now, pending any magic in the last 15 seconds here, we the narrative changed here because you brought up Bucky Irving before, and I'm thinking like, here we go, Bucky Irving coming down as the closer, Mariano Rivera style, put the nail in the coffin, and like you said, it took them 3 quarters to figure out, hey, maybe we should run the ball. So, I mean, are you irritated about that?
Oh, I am. I'm truly irritated. I don't understand why we just didn't run the ball. The Panthers have the worst run defense in the league. It's fact. Like they talked about that during the show. So why not run the ball? Why not run the ball? I didn't understand it. And then next thing you know, you have the little engine that could, the Panthers here, sticking around. Luckily, their kicker's missing kicks left and right. So I'm like, all right. Then, let's just get one good drive. And then this is how it starts. And then just stuttered. Baker gets stepped on. I'm like, all right, there he goes. I thought it was something worse, the way he got yanked down. I'm like, oh, good Lord. So yeah, we did it to ourselves. Should have ran the ball a whole lot. The league saw what a talent Bucky Irving is. The kid's the real deal. He is awesome. This kid's got moves, and it's just unbelievable.
Baker was another noteworthy storyline from this because he got banged up a little bit. We were talking off the air earlier in the game about how the Panthers defense all of a sudden came to play today. Well, not only came to play defense, they brought it at Baker.
No, they did, and it's weird because we've played against better defenses this year, and Baker shredded them for, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. And for some reason, I don't know. I don't get it, but that's why you play the game.
Yeah, fortunately, it looks like he's okay because he only missed a couple plays in lieu of Kyle Trask and then came right back in.
So it's interesting, we're going to see what happens. That's all I got right now. That's all I got.
Well, let's see what happens. Hopefully, we're not doing the announcer jinx right now on a field goal. And
it is good. Live TV, baby. Your namesake, buddy. Your namesake. That's my boy.
Maybe I'm his namesake. I'm probably older than him.
You might be. Not by much, though. Not by much. I think he's been in the league for a bit, but doesn't matter. Go with it.
Chase McLaughlin knots it, and we're going to overtime in that one. Now, the rub to this one, of course, is the fact that the Chargers did you a favor in this Sunday, Week 13, knocking off the Falcons. And I watched this game, and this was probably, like, Kirk's been up and down all year. There's nothing new here, but this is probably might have been maybe the worst he looked all year. I mean, they really roughed him up, and he made really bonehead decisions, picks in the end zone, pick sixes where he threw into a clear double team and the guy jumped the route and took it back untouched. So this was not a very good look for the Falcons.
No, and it's funny because, early in the season, everyone was on the Falcons bandwagon, and now is it a situation where maybe Kirk just isn't it wasn't what they thought they were getting. I don't know. Like you said, there were throws. I was like, why are you making that throw? Now maybe he just believed in his offense, his players a lot more, because those guys are talented. They are talented. There's no doubt. But you just sometimes just can't just throw a ball up there and just assume. Like, the Chargers are a good defense.
Yeah, and a lot of it was Kirk's weapons doing, let's say, 99% of the work and not finishing it off, because Kyle Pitts, obviously, he had a big run to get down the field at one point. Drake London had a huge game but couldn't get into pay dirt. Who missed at least one field goal that I remember. I mean, he might have missed another one. So this was not just on Cousins, but also the supporting cast, as far as, and not necessarily just not really to their fault, but it's just bad luck situations of get down there, we're ready to go, and then a turnover, a missed field goal, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, they had the opportunities. They had the chances to put this game away. Give the Chargers credit. They played strong, played great defense, and made the plays that needed to be made. So now Atlanta's sitting there at 6-6. Don't know what this game is going to be, but with Tampa and the Panthers. But now it's a situation where they had a 2 or 3 game lead. That lead is right now, if we end up winning, they still have a 2-game lead in theory, because they swept us. We have to basically win out. That's what we're going with. But you can't really trust Atlanta now. Now next week they go to Minnesota.
Yeah,
it's Kurt's homecoming. Minnesota's a good team. Are you going to bounce back, or is this a situation where it all just falls apart? And now, do the whispers of Michael Penix coming in start?
Minnesota's a good team that's kind of started to work out the kinks from a little midseason lull they had.
Yeah, but only 2 losses, and the way they came back this week, they're feeling good. They feel that they can win any game. So now, the panic button has to be hit there in Atlanta, because they shouldn't be 6-6. They should be better. There was the Super Bowl talk and all this. Now, if they lose to Minnesota, what happens?
Right, they're going to be in serious, treacherous conditions, because now Carolina, they're playing Philadelphia next week, so probably not so good. But your Bucs are playing. I will refresh my memory here. Tampa is playing the Raiders, so that is not a good situation to get waxed around by Minnesota next week, when Tampa has an alleged, quote unquote, easy win.
Exactly. As we can see, today it's not necessarily the truth, but yeah. So it's a situation of Atlanta has to take care of business, and they've got to figure it out quick.
And from the Chargers' perspective, this was a huge performance by them, because they're obviously coming off the loss on Monday night in the Hardball Bowl. And they kind of are just steadfast in the wild card round, because they're not catching the Chiefs.
Right.
But the onus is really on them solidifying their grasp on the wild card to make sure that that doesn't slip away from them.
No, exactly. They do have a little bit of wiggle room. I think the in the hunt teams have like 5 wins, so I think they've got a game or 2. It's like you don't want to be. He's like, yeah, that's a hard 5 wins, man. Don't disrespect me, and I'm no disrespect. So of course the Chargers need to play. They need to have the mindset of we have to win every game. They need to have that mindset. Like, especially when you have one of the last 2 wild cards, because if you're a game or 2 ahead, you 2 losses or something, some team gets hot, and before you know it, you're in the back of the line. So they've got to focus and continue to do what they need to do to keep that game or 2 lead.
Especially with Cleveland playing on, Denver playing on Monday, there could be a situation they're playing Cleveland. And Cleveland's had a spirited effort this year, but Denver, in theory, should beat Cleveland, and they're playing at home, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they're playing at home, so that should be edge Denver, and they'll be right. They'll be neck and neck with the Chargers. They'll still maintain only a game back.
Yeah, at the end, this is the point now where you got to win every game. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you got to keep things clean. Got to keep things clean. So it's one of
I'm a
those. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
good. I'm a
Yeah.
little concerned with Herbie. He
Mhm.
didn't exact. I think it's starting to come back. Or their strategy of like kind of slow ball, ugly ball is kind of coming back around to bite them. They need their big arm quarterback to be a big arm quarterback sometime at some point down this stretch run and make some plays that win a ball game.
No, definitely. You've got this guy who's, you're paying him a ton of money. He's extremely talented. He's got the arm. Let him do what he needs to do. But I don't know what the hesitation is, but excuse me, what they're doing now is working. I think it's going to continue. They're going to continue this way. Hopefully, if it's a situation where they got to let him throw it, they let him do it. You got to have confidence. This kid's got a great arm, great talent. Let it happen.
So, so we'll rip through our weekly ride through the NFC West. And the first one, I was really enjoying the play-by-play updates you were giving me on the Sunday afternoon of this disaster game in New York, Gino's homecoming of sorts, as it were. And this seemed to me, from a third-party perspective, a comedy of errors with Seattle's turnovers and the Jets get out a hot start, falling back. Then Rodgers starts getting the turnover game. This was just like, who wasn't going to screw up last?
That's exactly what it was, because the way the Jets started out, I'm like, oh man, I go, wow, if the Seahawks really just wanted to end their chance at any kind of playoffs, I don't know if
No,
this is the team I really wanted to do it against. But yeah,
no.
they're fumbling kickoffs, just ugly ball. And then all of a sudden, the Jets were like, no, we can do it better. And lo and behold, next thing you know, the Seahawks come back. It was just a bad game, man. But hey, these are the games you're supposed to win.
He's a bad man. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, well, he's a bad man, all right.
yeah. At least I guess the Tampa's perspective too, as well as Seattle. At least you could say, hey, we were on the road.
It's like we weren't home, we were on the road. But and like there were glimpses of Aaron of old, like he had some scrambles in the pocket and such, and and then next thing you know, he was getting sacked, getting his head ripped off, and Devontae Adams looked solid. And that's gonna leave a mark.
Oh, oh,
Live
oh, oh.
TV, folks, not good, not
Live
good.
TV indeed.
So, but you know, Seattle's got to grind. That's all it is. And you can't play ugly this point in the season. You got to finish strong. Now, mind you, the Jets are a decent team, but come on.
That's the first time I've heard you say the Jets are a decent team in about 7 weeks.
They showed me a little something today, but you know, I think the Seahawks need to play everybody as if they're playing, high caliber,
Yeah,
competition. They have to.
yeah. I mean, they got away with this one, but they cannot do this every week, because if they're doing this next week, I think they got to go against Arizona again, and got a little. I don't want to say they got lucky last time, because Arizona just didn't come to play, and and Seattle's defense showed up. But if they put in this effort that they put against the Jets, against the Cardinals again, I think the Cardinals kind of had a little bit of a reality check, and they might be ready to go in the rematch.
Oh yeah, exactly. And especially after Arizona, the way they lost today, they're going to clean whatever they have to up, because they're the surprise of that division, and they believe that they're good. They believe they're just as good as anybody in this division. So Seattle's got to figure it out.
Speaking of that current game, I they kept hanging around in here, but they couldn't put it away, and Minnesota just said, "All right, kids, go back to the sandbox. We're the professionals in this one." And it, by the final score, they kind of look like they got a little waxed, and that's not good, because they're falling farther apart. Seattle gets another victory. We'll get into the Rams in a moment. They got a victory. So and the Niners, who knows what's going to happen tonight? But that's not a very good look for Arizona.
No, exactly. But at the same time, I don't know. It's not necessarily a rebuild, but they're trying to figure things out. It's like last year wasn't the best for them. Now this year, they're a bit of a surprise, and they're learning to win. They're learning how to win. So it's going to be a situation where they're probably going to take these lumps towards the end of the year. I still think the Rams are going to eke this out. Eke out this division. But I think this is a good foundation for Arizona, and I think next year they're going to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I mean, as far as I think the pressure is on next year, because after last year being kind of miserable and this year showing flashes, but um, ultimately, or right at least as it stands right now, coming up short.
Mm-hmm.
If that continues, I think a lot of pressure is going to be on both Kyler and Gannon. Like, this is it. You showed us you can come close the deal, get us to the playoffs. As if they don't, the whispers are going to start to scratch this and start over.
It will, but I think it's going to be more of, is Kyler the guy?
Right.
I think the head coach has shown enough where they're like, okay, it works. But I think they're going to sit there and say, all right, well, Kyler's taken us this far. I don't think he's the guy. So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see. But it was a hard loss. You learn from this and you go from there.
Real quick before we move on, shout out Minnesota because they're somehow keeping tabs with the Lions.
Right? It's like, like honestly, and like we've talked about with Minnesota, everyone thought, they were waiting for the pumpkin, Sam Darnold, it was all going to fall apart, and they've played well this year. This has got to be a good feeling for them to be able to pull this one out.
Yeah. Of course, the other extra game here. Sorry, live TV, folks.
Live TV. Sorry. The Panthers fumbled, and the Bucs have recovered.
One more shot at it. One more shot.
Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, folks. I'm usually very attentive, but this is. If anyone who knows me and Nutmeg knows me very, very well, this is very, very intense for me. But
emotional.
But like I said, Minnesota, they're just going to continue to play, and depending where they fall, come playoff time, it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, and the extra team in the mix, because the jury seems to be out on the Niners, but the other team in the mix is those aforementioned Rams, and I never would have thought I'd see the day where you've been this consistently high on the Rams as far as their chances to outlast the rest of the pack here.
The Rams are, what it is? They're good. They just can't stay healthy. It's just what it is. It's like if they were healthy, good golly. But they can run the ball. Like when you got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and you got to give Matt Stafford his props. The man's still got a laser arm and can put it where he needs to put it. I think their defense is a little light. They're a year or two away from being a really good defense. They've got young players, but it's going to take some time. But they handled business today, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Matt Stafford.
Yeah, not that the Saints are the team you're worried about right now, but any loss to the Saints is always a good day for you.
Anything that sticks it to Cam Jordan, so be it. Appreciate you.
And Stafford keeps spreading it around. I mean, Puka got pay dirt. Robinson got pay dirt. Kyron Williams had a great day on the ground. This has been a very, very, very distributed, diversified offense. It's not,
and that's when they're at their best.
Vision on Kupp and Puka.
Exactly, and that's when they're at their best. When the run game is on point, and the next thing you know, Stafford can sit there and just throw the ball. Teams literally have three pretty much all pros that you got to worry about. You got to worry about Kupp, you got to worry about Puka, and you got to worry about Williams. And they've got other guys on that team that fill in well and play well. So it's a good offense.
Yeah. We will switch out of the NFC West and over to the AFC North. And we kind of did a little forecasting that this would maybe be the nail in the Bengals' coffin. And sure enough, it was, but it was a little closer than anticipated.
Yeah, it was like, first half, it was close, and then you saw the Steelers start to pull away, and you're like, oh, at that point I changed it. I was like, I'll go watch. I watched. I was like, let me go watch the Jets because this is over. And then I would go back. And
talk about the first for you.
Yeah,
because watch the Jets.
Because I wanted to watch the Jets fall apart. I didn't think they were going to keep it as close as they were. And then you kind of see the Bengals come back a bit, and I'm like, oh man, is this going to be the game where they turn it all around? And this is what everyone's going to say. Every procrastinator is going to say this was the game that Burrow turned it around. And lo and behold, nope, it didn't. And after that, it just went to heck. It was a heck of a season for you guys in Cincinnati. Y'all got to figure it out. I don't know. Well, your defense is horrible. Let's just be realistic. The defense is horrible. They've got talent on the offensive end. You put up 35, you give up 38. That's just what your defense is. So it's going to be interesting in the offseason what this team becomes, because I think your run game is solid with Brown. Is T. Higgins going to be there next year? You got, Chase, you got to make sure you're taking care of him and such. So it's going to be interesting what this becomes.
And a lot of our caveat with their struggles this season were the fact that they traded Mixon, they parted ways with him, and their run game was a problem. But Chase Brown has actually been probably the most consistent part of at least this offense, if not the whole team, this whole season. So I can't even necessarily use running game as a scapegoat anymore.
No, not at all. Because we didn't know who the guy was going to be. Like, we had no idea. We were like, oh, they're not going to be able to run the ball. This is going to be a mess. Oh, and Mike Gesicki there. Got to give him some props too, man. A Patriot throwaway there.
A Patriot throwaway. The Patriots are normally the ones that pick up the throwaways and turn them into borderline Pro Bowlers. Live TV, ladies and gentlemen.
Live TV. You're the best 6-6 team in the league today. Amen. Woo. But wow. At the end of the day, it just like I said, it's
take a breath. Take a breath.
I was like, please don't miss this kick. Please don't miss this kick. I can't do this, man. I can't do this. A man my age can't do this. But you got to win ugly sometimes, folks. You got to win ugly. Jets could learn that. You got to learn to win ugly.
And to our current topic, so could the Bengals.
Yeah, if the Bengals could have won ugly about 3 or 4 times, they'd be good. But yeah, I think everyone was everyone was hanging their hat on the, oh man, they start out slow. They're going to turn it around, and it never materialized. So this is what you're at, and they got to just move on.
Speaking of ugly, I mean, it looked like that was going to be the MO on Russ in this game. But he kind of shook off a slow start, and he started throwing some rainbows. So I was all ready for Tomlin to pull the plug and go back to Fields, but I guess the predictions of his demise are slowly exaggerated.
No, when you have TJ Watt on your team, that's what cleans up your messes. Yeah. Like, let's be realistic. He had 2 forced fumbles, I believe. Like TJ Watt is normal, and if TJ Watt doesn't play in this game might have been something different possibly. But the Steeler defense is great. So that, when you've got a defense like that, it's going to help you when you throw a pick or something, because this defense is going to be able to hold, or at worst, maybe give up 3 points. So you're like, all right, yeah, it's good. So Russ had some moments, but I'll tell you this, if anything happens to that defense, going forward, and they get to the playoffs and Russ is throwing 2 or 3 picks, I don't know if they can bounce back. I don't know. Yeah. Najee's got to stay healthy, because you saw once Najee got knocked out for a little bit, and the run game was all right. But
another injury scare, in this Sunday,
yeah,
and
you had the Cordell Patterson, Warren mix there, and they did all right. But I'm not a fan of Russ. I'm scared that he's just going to cough it up somehow.
yeah, it's weird it's weird for us to hear each other talking about singing the praises of one Najee Harris.
Yeah, because last year, man, we were ready to sell him off, as I
Yeah,
think most of Pittsburgh was. But well, he's a free agent. I think it's also the fact that they didn't re-up his contract. So I don't know if he ends up back there next year.
got a chip on his shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah, so he's going to end up probably going somewhere getting a decent amount because all of a sudden the running backs are the new hot thing again.
that's right. It only
Everyone
took
should
about 12 years to come back around.
that and Saquon Barkley.
Yes,
That and Saquon Barkley go into the Eagles. So everyone needs to give Saquon a piece of the check.
well, that is a wonderful transition, Bucks McGee, because uh, it, if as if the Steelers needed anything else to make this victory feel good, despite Russ's uh, inconsistent performance, if their Keystone neighbors, their Keystone brethren, gave them a nice little gift in defeating the Ravens, and in a fairly, the score wasn't too out of control, but the game felt like the score probably should have been out of control. The Ravens were not impressive in this game against Philadelphia.
I will give the Eagles their defensive flowers. They were good. I thought for sure this was going to be a game where we were going to see 30-point games and it was just going to be whoever scores last wins kind of deal. But the Eagle defense really stepped up. Lamar didn't look like an MVP to me in this game.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think everyone's been talking about Lamar repeating, or getting it this year. I think Saquon kind of maybe solidified his spot as maybe the number one guy right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, give the Eagles credit. I still don't know if they are on par with the Lions, but they inched a little closer.
Yeah.
They inched a
Yeah.
little closer. I still have some questions about Hurts and such, but at the end of the day, they handled their business. Their defense did what they needed to do. I will give a shout out to Mark Andrews because that man was balling today. That man had some catches where I was like, I didn't think he could move like that anymore. Like I really didn't.
There's
But
still some life in those old legs.
that the touchdown in the end zone where he like grabbed it out of the air, it looked like he was playing with like fifth graders and they were jumping up trying to grab the ball. I thought that was kind of entertaining, and he had a couple other catches. So I give Mark Andrews credit, but now Baltimore takes a step back, and now we kind of sit there in the AFC and kind of say, now you still have the Chiefs at number one. You have to give them their due still. But Buffalo is clearly entrenched as the number two or the team to take out the Chiefs, which they've done already. So right now, Baltimore needs to figure out things because right now, so you're either going KC or Baltimore or Buffalo.
Yeah, especially with Pittsburgh looking a little bit more shakier, especially if they have a strong performance against the Niners tonight. That could be a situation where there will be no more questioning Buffalo.
No, and they're playing in like the Snow Bowl, so it's a hot mess out there in Buffalo. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Now, I do still, like I said, I'll give the Steelers their credit. If you had to ask me right now, I think that you would have to say they're the third best team in the AFC. I think that's fair. I think you would go KC, Buffalo, then the Steelers, Baltimore in fourth, but they're a shaky fourth right now.
I mean, if I could just see some more out of Justin Herbert, I'd almost argue maybe Chargers over Baltimore right now.
Yeah, exactly. Right now,
despite last week, of course.
Exactly. So right now, Baltimore's got to figure it out because we're week 13, man. In a couple weeks, it's going to be okay. You let these games slip through, and you could be sitting there in the 6th or 7th spot, playing for your life.
Now you said the Eagles are inching closer to the Lions at this point. How many of these type of really solid, borderline dominant wins need to stack up for you to have confidence that okay, maybe we don't question Nick Sirianni anymore. Maybe he's secured himself another year of grace period.
Probably another. I'd say probably another 3 wins. Another 3 wins, and I'd say okay, they're good to go. The issue is at quarterback. I think Goff is better. I think if you compare Goff and Hurts, I think Goff is better. He just feels better. He gets the ball out. Just seems better. Hurts is just I don't know, man. It's just okay. Tush push and his hit and hey, that's how it is. But like I'm not confident seeing him sitting in the pocket because I don't see him sitting in the pocket enough to deliver the ball. Like Brown, was kind of non-existent for good chunks of this game and stuff. Like I don't want him to throw for 400 yards, but I need to see some more out of the pass game. And Detroit just has the two-headed monster, that two-headed running back monster. So it's one of those things where for some reason, if one is kind of off, you've got the other one, and the other one's just as fast, if not faster. So
a very interesting potential matchup to prophesize about if Philly's defense being as strong as they've performed this year and of late, if that can be the kryptonite to at least slow down the Sonic and Knuckles thing, if not stop them completely.
I don't know because I think Detroit has so much speed on that team. If you really look at Detroit's team, they're fast. They have fast. The wide receivers are fast. Those running backs. So it's a situation of can the Eagles keep up with them? I don't know. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's a little different to load up on the Bucs when the only weapon you have to worry about is an aging Mark Andrews, not 18 different Detroit Lions wide receivers plus the 2 running backs.
Exactly. You could just throw random people off the bench. Yeah, go ahead. And any guy can bust off a 100-yard game. And it's just like, okay, what do you do to stop it? The only thing with Detroit is they're, nicked up a little bit. The defense needs to, and continue to improve. But, they're the team to beat right now. So I give them credit.
Well, Buccs McGee, I give you credit because this was a heck of a show to do live.
Oh man, dude, emotional. Whew, man, there are ups and downs, ebbs and flows. Oh Lord, 6-6 has never felt so good. I'll tell you that much, man. But hey, like I said, you just got to be 1 point better, and it doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to win.
Yeah. Sir, take us off air. I don't think it's been many times we both get to celebrate a victory Monday, but sure enough, we get one this week. Take us off air with some of your final thoughts around the NFC West, the AFC North, all this fun stuff that happened in week.
It was a cornucopia of action today, folks. NFC South. Oh well, it is what it is. 6-6. Enjoy it. AFC North. You all can say nice things at the burial of the Bengals. It wasn't a great season, but it is what it is. NFC West. Who knows what's going to happen? We probably will figure it out in another week or two. But one thing that's always a guarantee: Jets. Suckers.